A point was something special, wasn't it?
Well, I think he deserved a celebration, Kelly, at least. That was the most low-key moment of the whole game, because this free kick is absolutely sumptuous. It's brilliant. I mean, to get it up and over the wall and then just kiss off the bar and in. And in all fairness, De Gea has been unstoppable all night, but this is... it's something else, isn't it, Jamie?
Oh, it's the best free kick of the season. We've seen James Ward-Prowse, he's got a catalogue of these throughout the season and his career. That is a stroke of genius. It really is. I just don't understand why he's not celebrated. I mean, I scored a few free kicks. My shirt was off the lot. I was doing love bites, everything.
Especially if they hit the bar.
That is as good as it gets. And I'm sure deep down inside he's buzzing. But what a free kick. What a moment for them. And I thought from Palace's point of view, they produced a good performance for their manager. They needed it. But from Man United's point of view, it just couldn't have gone any worse. We spoke before the game about Casemiro. He's got to, obviously don't get a yellow card, don't get booked, don't get in any real confrontations. It's so important that they need him on Sunday. He gets booked on the 80th minute, and it was as if from that moment it completely took the steam out of Manchester United. It affected them so much they knew that their talisman, their most important player in that defensive role, had gone. It was a bit of a moment of madness. You can see he was furious with his teammate Bruno Fernandes, who jumps out of a challenge, and that ends up why he gets booked.
So
I mean, it could have been a red card. I mean, it's a scandalous challenge.
Huge game against Arsenal.
I mean, I could just see Mikel Arteta, when that happened, dancing around his living room, because that is so important. They have got no one that can do what he does in the team.
When you say could have been a red, the pace of it isn't there. I mean, that's why
it's a reckless
challenge.
Yellow,
but
it's reckless.
I mean, his first contact on Wilfried's eye is on his knee, so it's a really high challenge. But he didn't need to make the challenge because Varane was covering, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I personally think we can see the confrontation here between him and Fernandes. And it was frustration, the frustration that his lack of awareness getting closed down, a bad pass out to Fernandes. Fernandes, a weak challenge at best, wasn't it? And then when Wilfried goes past him, I think it was just frustration. He takes him down, and then all of a sudden he realises he's made a mistake, and all his teammates as well, didn't they?
And I think so, as a player in that position, all his life, all his career, he's made those tackles. He's earned, he knows he's got to get booked sometimes, and it was just instinct. It's what he's done. He didn't know what else to do. He can't help himself. He's thinking of the team. Of course, he doesn't want to make this challenge because he knows the consequences are so big, not just for him, but also for the team. But he's furious there with his player, and now he thinks, I've got Wilfried Zaha, I've just got to bring him down, so I don't want the other team to score. It's just that...
And it's this look, isn't it? After the challenge is made, the first eye contact he makes is with Fernandes in disappointment, I think.
Oh, yeah.
As in, why are you not putting your boot in for me? Why are you not trying a little bit harder? I know it was a bad pass,
There's the look
but look
there.
what you've left me.
There you go. Look at that look. Looks could kill.
A shrug of the shoulders and... I mean...
And it felt they just couldn't get over it. It seemed to affect them so much because they knew they'd lost their best player, and then obviously the goal compounds it. And they really should have been away as well. They had, we both agree on the penalty as well.
Yeah, were you surprised he was still on the field after 80 minutes?
I think he's so important. I don't think, as a manager, he'd gone 80 minutes. You and I said, God, they've had a result here. It's gone so well for them. They're winning 1-0. He hasn't got booked, and then within a minute he gets booked. I think you have to take that chance with certain players because you'd be kicking yourself if you took him off. Fred comes on and scores. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. It was a really difficult situation for the manager.
Fred was waiting to come on, but we understand that was always for Eriksen, even though that was subsequently what happened.
You kept him on and they still scored. So it's one of that. It's a really difficult one for the manager, and it's just pure instinct, and it's cost them so dearly because not only the goal, and they obviously haven't got their most important player for the game of the weekend.
And like you said, it could have all turned on that penalty decision where Manchester United could have gone 2-0 up in the game, and you think that might well have been that. Do you think it was a penalty?
I think it is a penalty, yeah. We've seen it back a number of times, and it's a real difficult one, but this is the best angle, and for me, McTominay gets the ball, he takes it away from Richards. Richards dangles a foot, and I don't think he touches the ball, and for me, that is a penalty. And why the referee hasn't gone over to the monitor to make his own decision on this, I'm not sure.
I couldn't agree more, Glenn. He's chopped it away from his right foot. It's a lovely touch. You can tell by the reaction of McTominay as well. What I don't understand sometimes there'll be something that's quite innocuous and VAR will look at it for 5-10 minutes, but something that is actually so clear and obvious and so vitally important for a team, why they just didn't spend a little bit more time. There's other things that they don't.
There's complaints about VAR if the referees, whether it's in Stockley Park or on the field, spend too long looking at it. They're trying to get a quick decision made. The bar to overturn the decision on the pitch, which is no penalty, is very, very high. Do you think, and I know you're both saying you would have given the penalty if you'd seen it at the time, do you think there's enough there to then overturn the referee's decision? Personally,
I think it's clear enough. It's a lovely bit of skill from McTominay. He just deceives him. You can see he gets that right foot there. He's waiting for the challenge, just nicks it away from him. He definitely doesn't get a touch, and then there's the foul. He draws the foul. You can see the reaction of the... I'm a big... players will always try to get an edge, but you can see straight away he knows it's a foul. He's got there ahead of him. He didn't do a lot wrong, Chris Richards, all game. That was the only mistake he really made. But he got away with it.
You say that players do that, but I don't think McTominay is that type to go into the box and go down. It's not in his nature, is it? I honestly think he touched the ball, he gets the contact, and I think it was a penalty.
And that is one, just to spend a minute, go and look at the screen and see what it's... Because that was 2-0, game over. And that's what's cost them.
It's cost them, and yet it started so well for them, with Bruno Fernandes putting Manchester United ahead, and they fought for this goal in the first half. Palace did not make it easy for them.
No, Eduardo had a good chance as well just beforehand, and it was a really important moment. Lovely bit of play by Eriksen and Marcus Rashford. Brilliant finish. From Crystal Palace's point of view, they'll obviously be disappointed here because Decore, who's marking Eriksen, has just got to do his job. You can see there that he points, he's going, I've got to follow the runner. And then Will Hughes tries to make amends for him, and then he leaves Bruno Fernandes at the edge of the box, and it's a big moment. I think sometimes you just got to follow your runners, and that's what they get. It costs them, Glenn, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And when Manchester United score in the 43rd minute, just before half-time, it's the boost you want. You go in, you're buzzing in the dressing room, the manager's happy. I expect them to manage the game better in the second half. I really do.
What do you think? In what respect you think he could have made changes more or done something earlier?
Yeah, personally, I think Manchester United, in the vein of form they're in, they're 1-0 up away from home. I feel as though they've got to manage it better. They've got to attack the game, take the game to Palace and beat them. I mean, we've seen them do it over and over again so many times this season.
But like what Tottenham did last week.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. They just seemed a little bit cautious, if anything. And I don't know if that was all to do with Casemiro and not wanting to leave him in the middle of the field sort of vulnerable.
Sometimes that's the pressure when you're going for a title. All of a sudden, people are talking about them the last few days, the title contenders, and it affects them. But it is also
the derby when and the Arsenal game as well.
Yeah. But you can also look at it and go, the goal is so special. You know, sometimes you just have to hold your hands up when you get beaten by something like that.
Well, Manchester United then